Welcome to The Wedding Edit, a wedding planning podcast for the modern couple. We are your hosts, Lauren and Dana. So today we've got the lovely Lauren with her first ever episode being a co-host. So welcome, Lauren.
Thank you, Dana.
I'm very excited to have you. Lauren the Celebrant, as you may know, aka, Lauren the Celebrant. Such a wonderful soul, and we're so incredibly lucky to have you here. And I know that Kelly will be saying all the same things. She's very excited that you're here while she's taking maternity leave with her beautiful new little baby Reuben. So, thanks so much for being here.
My pleasure. I'm thrilled to be here and all the same wonderful things about you. Just love being in your presence. So thank you so much. And thank you to Kelly from far away for having me as well.
Today we have the lovely and energetic Tania from Choons Moovz. Welcome, Tania.
Thank you so much, Dana. I'm so excited to be here, and thank you, Lauren, for being here too. I'm so excited to join you behind the mic.
I am so excited to have you here. I know Dana is too. Loving the energy, loving the sparkle.
Yeah,
Yes,
thank you.
All the sparkle. It's beautiful.
Yes, I'm quite known for my sparkle and bright colours. I just love it. I don't know how to dress any other way.
So Tania and her husband Jay run Choons Moovz, which is a team of 5 to 6 DJs and MCs, and you've also added a photo booth recently as well, which is very exciting.
Yes, we provide DJs and MCs mainly, predominantly at the moment. We also have we team partnership with some other companies to do acoustic music.
Amazing.
We also do a photo booth, and we specialise with some lighting as well. So my husband covers all of the sound and lighting. He is the logistics man and the genius behind all of that. Thank goodness, because I would not be able to provide all that energy that I give to gigs if it wasn't for him doing that background work.
Yeah, I did read on your website that you were connected in with him and her, which is amazing. We had them on the podcast not that long ago. So, that's really cool that you guys are all connected into each other. And we talked a little bit about acoustics being connected in with being like a DJ later and MC and all of that, and how well that can all work together.
Yes, I love working with Pete and Chelsea at Him and Her Music. They are a phenomenal talent, beautiful people, and exceptionally good at what they do in business as well as outside of business. And we love providing services to couples in combination with them, in collaboration with them. It's such a joy to work along such a high calibre of talent. Yeah. And it matches hopefully our level of talent and service. And we just like to be like a one-stop shop for couples. So they come to us and we can offer them as many services as possible.
Yeah.
And we like to kind of cater to the individual needs of the wedding as well. So we'll get to know the couple a bit more and add on services as we go along and find out what they need.
So Tania, my love, you are quite a zesty creature. You're engaging in all sorts of ways. Please tell me, how do you come up with your amazing dance moves, and where does your never-ending supply of energy come from?
Well, first of all, Lauren, spot it, you got it, Zest Queen.
I can be zesty sometimes.
Yes, I love it. Look, I think my dance moves came from that's really hard to answer, a question to answer. I would say my obsession as a childhood watching Rage and video hits.
Best. Saturday morning, Sunday morning.
I know.
Come on, time to party.
It's a bit of an indication of my age. Both of those eras have passed on, sadly. Rest in peace, Rage. That was a magnificent time of my life. But I was obsessed with pop culture growing up, and I've always loved music and dancing. I also recall growing up, my dad used to get me up out of bed after he'd had a few drinks and play records to me, like vinyl. And he'd so passionately talk about these songs and these artists and how much the music made his soul and his heart move in ways that nothing else can. And I just knew what he was talking about. And we're very kindred spirit in that way, my father and I love my father so deeply. But music moves us both so deeply, and I think it moves most people, but I certainly do feel affected by music the most, and a lot more than other people I've noticed. I did try and attempt to play music and instruments growing up. I actually did piano and cello. But if I'm not perfect at something straight away, I'm like, oh, I'm terrible. And I just give up and I don't want to do it. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't really progress too far with piano, but I did classical ballet growing up, and I loved dancing. But it was a very disciplined field, and I moved on to play things like netball and things like that because they're a lot more popular with my friend group. So I think it's a combination of all those things: loving music, brought up appreciating it, doing the classical dance training, and honestly, I haven't done any like hip hop training or anything like that, but I just let the music take control. I just let my body speak with the music. So I'd say really it's a combination of all those things.
Absolutely. And I think your couples, the other suppliers, everyone can see that. The music literally enters you. It does. And the energy pours out the other end in the form of the best dance moves I've seen in the industry.
Yeah.
I think sometimes they're a bit lanky and uncoordinated, but I honestly don't. I think that's the other thing too. I don't care what I look like. I went to a Spice Girls concert last night, like the what are those tribute ones?
Oh, awesome.
And it was incredible. They were actually, I don't tell the Spice Girls this, but they were probably a little bit more talented than
Oh my gosh, shame on you. Don't think about my Spice Girls.
I was
like
obsessed with Spice Girls growing up, and I was so happy to be there last night. It was a phenomenal show, and I would love to see the Spice Girls in person. I would pay a fortune to see it too. But I was watching these two young girls last night, just totally childlike, let the music take control and feel the joy come out of them. And I realised that's what I just let myself do. I have no inhibitions. And I think because for me it's about I don't care what I look like or what people think. And sometimes people do pay me out. But I don't care because for me it's about bringing joy, love, fun, energy to the event. And if I'm not enjoying it, how can I expect anyone else to enjoy it? And that's my priority. I don't care what cost that it takes. If it means people pay me out and I look silly for a while dancing by myself until others join me, that's okay. I don't care. I'll pay the price because it is primarily about the couples and having a damn good time on the dance floor and the night of your life. So I'll do anything it takes to do that.
So I think that a lot of your couples are really attracted to your energy, and that's probably why they book you.
Yes, that's probably primarily the most positive feedback that we receive is my energy, and I honestly don't know how I get that. I certainly know afterwards, like I'm completely depleted, and it does take me a while to recoup that energy. But I think it comes from another source, to be honest, because there's something that happens when the music is playing and I'm engaging with that music, and then some people join the dance floor, and then I'm feeding off their energy and they're feeding off mine, and there's this just huge circuitry ball of energy that is feeding between all of us. And the more they're into it, the more I'm into it, and then it just builds and snowballs throughout the night. And I'm so excitable, especially when there's love everywhere. Like I am someone who loves love very deeply. I'm highly empathetic and I'm highly intuitive. And I have to work really hard to maintain that and keep myself healthy if like where it doesn't get out of control or doesn't deplete me completely. And I need to really watch my energy levels. And I think when it comes to a DJ, it's more than just pressing play and mixing the music, and there's a lot of technical skills involved and musical skills involved as well, like matching keys and beats and things like that. We can do all of that, but it's also about that energy and watching and reading the room and engaging and building that connection between people, because I think people are looking for more than just music at a wedding. They're looking for an experience, an unforgettable moment, connection with people, and music brings people together. And when you combine that at weddings with love and celebration and community, like some very magical moments happen on the dance floor that really fuel my energy in turn. And it's such a gift to be able to provide that, and you cannot put a price on it. like honestly, like it's priceless. And Lauren, the celebrant, would know that as a celebrant. You cannot put a price on that charisma that she brings to every celebration and ceremony. Like it's priceless.
Yeah.
And like if we could bottle it up and sell it, you know, we could, but really you couldn't put a price on it at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's so true. It's all about bringing that experience. You can bring all the technical skills that a celebrant or a DJ need, or a photographer. You can put everything together and tick all the boxes. But once you inject that personal connection, that energy, that vibe, that's what makes that bit of magic.
Yes.
And after you just said all that, I feel like we need to pack away the microphones, you need to put the tunes on, and we all need to get in that energy ball together.
Yes.
Especially with Doug's beard. That's what I think we need to do.
We could even dance amongst the beard, I reckon.
I'm keen. Let's do it now.
It is magic, that's for sure.
It is.
You said it.
Doug's like, back off my beard.
So, Tania, I would love to know a bit more about the services that you offer and what kind of packages that you have for couples.
Primarily, we offer the DJ package, and most people will have us for about 4 to 6 to 7 hours. But my husband and I, Jay, are usually there from the very beginning to the very end. We're often the first to arrive and the last to leave. We like to be set up well and truly before the ceremony, at least an hour before the ceremony. We find there's some eager beaver guests who like to arrive an hour before the ceremony. We don't want to see any guests seeing us set up. We want to be ready to go, relaxed, primed, and set to rock the party like really early. And we like to really, as the MC, and it's probably about 50-50 that I'm the MC, and often they get friends or family to do the role. But when I'm the MC, I like to attend the ceremony so I can really get a vibe of the entire day. I'm reading the crowd the entire day, sitting with the mood, knowing what I need to play later on, and really connecting to everyone, and so I can really build that momentum throughout the night for a kick-ass dance floor. So that's primarily our DJ package. So, you know, even though I might be only playing for 4 to 6 hours, like I'm there for up to 14 hours. And if you count, you know, from when we leave home, and we're often getting ready at home, packing up the van, and by the time, like sometimes it's a 16-hour day, you know, from all that preparation time. And we find that it's necessary for our most professional premium product. That's what we need to do. And then from there on, we've got the MC role, and then we've got a photo booth. We've just introduced a photo booth, which my husband Jay has geniusly put together. He has always loved photography as a hobby, and so that's really tested his photography skills. And initially it was just going to be something that was going to be standalone that he didn't have to monitor, but for the best quality product and outcome, we've found that he probably does need to actually be there as an attendant, just because it offers better lighting and quality and outcomes and outputs. And then we offer, like, we've got a neon light that says Mr. and Mrs. We'd like to actually introduce a Mrs. and Mrs. and a Mr. and Mr. or anything like that, or Lovers Love, something like that. And we have up lighting, we have dance floor lighting, we have the acoustic duo, and we're also introducing sax and bongos.
Oh, amazing.
Yes, so excited. We've got some exceptionally talented musicians to join us for that. And, we're also teaming up with Leah Zweck, just in regards to having like things like strings and
gorgeous.
That's good, yeah.
So we're pretty
Something
excited.
for ceremony.
Yeah. Or even having Leah join us on the dance floor, like sax and bongos.
Oh, yeah.
They're really doing that interstate.
I love the
eastern
sax
states.
in the middle of the dance floor.
Yes,
Like, that's
same.
always amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we're trying to get people to encourage people to join us with the violin in the middle of the dance floor.
Yeah,
They
so
do it a
good.
lot in
Be
the
a
eastern.
vibe, like a bit of an electric violin.
Yes.
Like, you know, Bond, that
yes.
sexy electric violin from the 90s. That was like, could rock a dance floor.
That's right. And they're doing it a lot in the eastern states. So we're trying to bring old South Aussie along.
Yeah.
And so we're pretty excited about what the future has to hold for us.
Yeah, that's amazing. So what can a couple expect to pay for that? Like, just tell me a range.
Well, that's a very good question, because we're actually looking at restructuring our pricing at the moment. from about $1,500 to about $2,500.
Yeah.
And that
really
would
good.
include DJ and MC.
Yeah.
And of course, then you'd have to add more if you wanted to have an acoustic duo or sax or bongos.
All
or
the
anything
add-ons,
like that.
will always be a bit more, yeah.
And, like when it comes to pricing, like, I get a bit nervous about stuff like that because I want to make it affordable for as many people as possible. But I've been a DJ now in the industry for 20 years and I know I have done it for much, much, much less than that for way too long.
Yeah.
And for me, it's not necessarily about the money, but it's about equating your worth and there's a lot of time and energy, as we've discussed, that goes into that, and you need to be paid accordingly. Like we need to, if we broke it down, I'd probably only get paid $10 an hour. But like it's we love it and we're passionate about it. But when you break it down, say if you had 100 people at your wedding, and it was, say, $2,000 for your entertainment, that's only $20 a head, and you would pay $20 just to go into a nightclub for a few hours. So it's not a lot of money when it comes to the grand scheme of things and when you're putting your budget together. I like to break it down to people like that because it really puts things into perspective.
Yeah, I think you're very reasonably priced.
Yeah.
And I think it's great that you're also bringing in the different levels as well of DJs. That's amazing.
Yeah, because we want to try and be affordable to as many people as possible and price things fairly and accordingly. So because you don't want to also, bring down the market for other supplies as well. It's trying to be as fair to as many people as possible.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that you're doing this one-stop shop thing. It's fabulous that everyone can come to you, grab all these services in one. At the moment, people don't have heaps of time, so that would be such a relief and an excitement for your couples. But specifically what I'd just love to ask a bit more about is this photo booth.
Yes.
Fabulous idea. Anything that can capture more memories is just a win in my book.
Yes.
Can I ask about the end product of this photo booth? So is this kind of a take a photo and it's going to text it to your phone and email you? Is it a photo book at the end, little Polaroid looking pictures or stripped photos? I'm probably not saying the technology and embarrassing myself in front of two photographers, but tell me all about it. What's the deal?
Well, you're totally nailing it, all I think. Yes, but actually, it's actually a combination of all those things. So we have it printed out in strips and we also give the option where they can scan a QR code after each photo and then it can be delivered to their camera or to their phone. And we also give a digital library to each couple so they can keep it as well. And so it's a combination of all those things because what prompted us to create it is because we try and Jay and I get a photo at every wedding that there's a photo booth and we've got our fridge full of photo booth strips and it's so good. We love looking and going, oh, remember that wedding? And,
oh, that's the best.
And like
That's
it's
so cute.
completely chock-a-block like our fridge and we just love it. And that's what we want to focus on in our business is creating memories and unforgettable memories, those ones that are in your heart. No, so we really are really focused on doing that and we felt the photo booth was in that direction. And so we've also created things like backdrops and props and they're endless. I had a field day buying all these props. You know what? I found these foam hats and I've got this like blue girl's wig and I can't wait for blokes to wear it and then play Barbie girl behind the scenes and I just can't wait for stuff like that. So it's going to be heaps of fun.
Absolutely. So much fun. And I think there's something about the memories captured in a photo booth. People seem to go to the photo booth and let their guard down or, become another character like you're saying. So you just get another little glimpse that you might not get if they're whipping out their own phone and having a selfie or something like that. There's just that little bit of extra cheek and fun
That's right.
in those photos. And probably like when you go to your fridge and look at them and have a laugh, it's that extra step to capturing those memories
That's
I
right.
think. And especially you and Jay are already so fun. You know how to have a great time. So you bring that energy into the photo booth with those props, with those backdrops. I can't wait. Can't wait to see some of the little
end results.
photos and results that come out of that.
I think what's good about a photo booth too is it's often something that people can do in the early stages of the wedding when it's a bit kind of low key and a bit boring in inverted commas, and it's a bit of an icebreaker as well. So it also keeps people occupied when there's periods of where it's quite low and a lull, and then it also breaks that ice and people can give themselves permission to have a bit of fun.
So Tania, tell me about how you keep everyone happy when it comes to providing a song list for a wedding.
Short answer, you can't. Trying to keep everyone happy is very difficult, but I try the very best I can.
Yeah.
So it all starts with working with the bride and groom. I'll meet with them, or the groom and groom, or the couples, or the bride and bride, whoever. I'll meet with them and we'll go through step by step what songs they'll have for the formalities. And then based on that, I'll ask them, like, what music do you love? What radio do you listen to? What special memories have you had with music or at concerts? Like, it's all about memories and moments. And, you know, I like to focus on also what their age is, because I think it's really important to try and capture people, popular music for those people in their informative years.
Yeah.
So informative years are, I think, are around 12 to 16, but you could probably go up towards 18, 19, 20, you know, days of uni and late high school. And they're the times where music, I think, impacts us most. And so I talk about that with them, and I talk about their guests and what they love as well. And so it's trying to get a picture of all the music that people love, but obviously sometimes guests don't know the couples don't know their guests as well as they'd like. And sometimes it's having the combination of the different people there creates a different energy on the night as well. And so there's a lot of factors involved, but primarily based on the information they give me, I'll create a playlist in our software program, and I'll have a playlist ready. And so there's a lot of preparation involved with that. Often couples will give me like a Spotify playlist or like a list on a document or an Excel spreadsheet, and I'll collate the playlist with that information. And then I'll say to them too, like, look, these requests are great. However, I can't promise I'll play every one of them. Sometimes they'll give me a very extensive list, and it's just not possible to fit that many songs in, even if I'm only playing a minute of each song. And sometimes those songs just aren't going to fit the vibe on the night. And so I know what has worked in the past, and after, you know, hundreds of weddings, and there's a particular recipe that works, and I try and place their song requests based on that recipe in between what works. And so it's quite an art form. And I work really hard in trying to cater to everyone, but sometimes it's not quite possible. I like to take requests on the night because I like to engage with people, but sometimes people will request stuff that isn't quite popular or appropriate, or maybe it's a song that's pretty heavy and hardcore and appropriate for later on in the night, and they'll be busting my balls all night for it, and I'll be like, later. And sometimes I've gotten a bit stroppy because I'm like, okay, if you ask me again, I'm not going to play it. But I get that. Like, I'm that person who's on the dance floor requesting music and getting excited about the songs I love. Like, I want to do the best I can to play your request because I know how important these songs are to you. Like, music is emotionally entangled in people, and they mean something very deep and rich to them. So I want to try and honour that for everyone, but sometimes it's not quite appropriate or it doesn't quite fit. So, yes, like I said, quite an art form.
Yeah.
There's been a bit of I don't know if it's a new idea, I should say, in the last 3 to 5 years, a really sweet idea, so I thought, not being a DJ, where when couples send out invites and wait for their RSVP, it says, you know, RSVP, what's your name? What are your dietary requirements? What's a song you'd love to hear at our wedding?
Yes.
You know, obviously they don't write on there, we guarantee this will be played between these hours.
Yes.
Do you think that's something that when the couples collate that list and pass it to you, that's a help to you in reading the vibe? Or like you're saying, without being able to balance that song, is that a hindrance? I just wonder if couples listening, obviously everyone does that with the intention of engaging their guests, and I think at the end of the day, helping their DJ. But what do you think about that? What's your take? Is it a yay or a nay?
I'd say it's both. I think it's really good because guests then can feel like they're involved and engaged in the wedding. They get to have a say. They're part of it. But I think sometimes when they send those lists, they're not quite very popular or well known, so they're not songs that will be well received on a dance floor.
Maybe not cohesive with what you're putting together in a way.
Correct.
Like when I request System of a Down every time.
That's right.
I'm kidding. I don't. I just request that inside, and then on the outside, I'd write down Bruno Mars and cry a little bit or something. That's right.
That's right, because I have to consider everyone, not just that one person.
Yeah.
And so it does make it a little bit tricky. But what I would much prefer is encouraging people to come up and give me a request, because they're the people who are actually engaging with me on the night, not the people who've written a song 6 months ago on a response.
Absolutely.
So I'd rather be engaging with people. However, recently with COVID, I think I caught COVID at a wedding recently because someone came up, because people come up and yell in my ear for requests. Yeah. And while I love that, it hasn't been very good for health-wise.
Well, clearly they were yelling in your eyes and your mouth too.
That's right.
It's not great at all.
It's a very intimate process, requesting a song.
Sounds juicy. Yeah.
Yes, it is. Literally, I see spits flying in the air. So I am trying to establish something like a request line or something where people can message me, perhaps via Instagram. Because I like to tell people, oh, yes, okay, later on, because they're like, oh, they're requesting it, but they're waiting and hanging out for it all night. So I like to let them know, yes, it's coming up, might be an hour away. And so I like to communicate with them. I do like engaging with people, so it would be sad to put that away, but health comes first. And
You can do like a silent, like, little dance move, like
that's
like
right,
to people and connect with them.
Well, I do that anyway.
Exactly.
So it is, you like, to answer your question, it is a good idea, but it's also can
be just old people asking for their wedding song.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I can just imagine Doug and I doing that.
And I don't blame you, because that's what weddings are for, to celebrate love and recapture those memories. And sometimes those slower songs I will play over dinner. Yeah. And they're not wasted. Yeah. It just might not be played on the dance floor, that's all.
Wouldn't it be cool if you could just make like a big mashup of all the songs that people request, and then but I don't know, somehow it works.
But get it over within 3 minutes. So we need 2 seconds of every song, but it needs to flow and make everyone feel good. So can you do that when you get home? Thank you.
Sure, no problems. I'll see you in 3 weeks' time.
Brilliant. It's like the most impossible thing ever.
I'll now become a producer.
I bet you could. So I feel like I have been lucky enough to be at a number of different events that you've DJ'd at. I have been at weddings. I've been at industry insider events, charity events. The dance floor is always chockers. It is always pumping. People are having the best time ever. Could you please enlighten us as to your secret, your tips on how you get those dance floors so wild? How do you get everyone on the dance floor?
I wish I knew. I think for me it's about starting that groove by myself, like behind the dance floor, like making it look like I'm having fun, like I genuinely am every time, and enjoying the music, soaking it up, connecting to people by reading the room. I think people really underestimate that period over dinner when you're building the energy and the momentum. I think it's really important to start with some really soft, low tones and vibes to start with, because people are relaxed, they're chatting, they're eating, and then you build the energy and the toe tapping and the music and the boppiness as you go along. And I think it's really important, and people underestimate that priming for the dance floor. I think that's really crucial. I think also looking like I'm having fun and dancing, it's infectious. People want to join in, even though they might be laughing at me to start with or a bit uncomfortable about it because I'm this big kid who's just childlike and having a great time by herself in her own little world. I could look actually quite legitimately crazy, but I don't care. Like, I'm just having a wild time. And I think that just sets the vibe and the tone and the mood for the rest of the night. I think there's a lot of other factors that have nothing to do with the DJ as well. Let's just start with lighting. if the dance floor is really bright, no one's going to get on there. Like it's too intimidating because people are really quite shy to start with. Once they're on there and other people have joined them, that inhibition has been reduced. But you'll find that if it's really bright lighting, people are really quite intimidated and will be shy before stepping foot on the dance floor. There's other things like if it's really a big, open, wide, huge dance floor where everyone can see and see from view when they're sitting down, people will be really scared because they can see that people can see them if they're up there on the dance floor and they want to be hidden by others. So if you've got an open dance floor, what I would suggest doing is putting like furniture where people can sit around it because it blocks the view. First of all, and second of all, people can sit by it and get on the dance floor when they've got a bit more courage as they go along. There's other factors like I wouldn't suggest starting the dance floor before food has been finished, served. Like I would wait until at least dessert's finished because if you start the dance floor and it's pumping and then dessert gets served, you have people leave and it's really hard to get them back. So if you want it pumping all night, I would suggest that all food has been served before starting it. I think a lot of couples are really eager to get the dance floor started, but you'll be quite surprised. Like people don't want to dance for too long. They think like they can dance all night, but when you think about it, how often do you go and do a cardio session for more than 2 hours?
Every day for at least 5 hours.
So, I find that people I would aim for quality over quantity when it comes to hours on the dance floor because when you've got I'm not saying you only want an hour, but less is more sometimes. It's very rare that the dance floor will be pumping all night. I mean, we'll have it won't it be empty? We'll have people on the dance floor all night. It's very rare that it will be empty with us. However, if you want it pumping, like I would not start it too early, but you don't want to start it too late either. You know, you don't want people like busting to get to the dance floor and, you know, all these formalities are taking forever, you know, so there's lots of different factors to be involved. And like also with the photo booth, we're looking at shutting it at 10:30 because when the photo booth's on, they'll leave the dance floor to go to the photo booth. And it's not that, and that's why it's good for earlier when there's not much to do, the photo booth. So what we'll be doing is looking at closing at 10:30. So then after that, the dance floor is packed and pumping and there's no other distraction and that's what their focus is. But the main way to get the dance floor pumping is to get the couple on the dance floor.
Absolutely. Yeah. Everyone just kind of runs on to get their bit of 2 minutes of wedding FaceTime with the couple.
Yeah. That's right. They want to be with you, the couple. So if you're on the dance floor, they will be there with you. So I really would highly, highly, highly recommend, like that's how you get a dance floor pumping is get the bride and groom, the brides up there. And also I would coach your bridal party too or with wedding party. I would say, you know, your job is to be on the dance floor.
Never leave.
That's right.
Get ready to do 6 hours of cardio.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You know, like that's what I would highly recommend is priming them. And also just one last tip, if you have a lot of people who are smokers at the wedding, I highly recommend having a wedding that's outdoors where people can smoke or on or even near the dance floor because we've done a few weddings where 80% of guests are smokers and it's been like getting blood out of a stone because everyone's outside smoking after a few drinks. That's all you want to do is smoke cigarettes. I mean, these days it's not that common that people smoke, which is a good thing. But if you are aware that a lot of your guests smoke, I would highly recommend having the dance floor and your wedding outside. I think it's really important to get a DJ who can read a crowd because I can have a playlist all ready to go, but if it's not working, you don't keep playing it. So it's really important that you have someone who's highly empathetic and intuitive, can read a crowd, can know what's going on, engage with people and connect with them and know what to play. And I think that's really important too, as opposed to like a DJ in a club who just plays tracks that are the latest trend and trying to be hip and cool and are generally very hip and cool and not me.
Yeah, Tania, they are hip and cool.
Yes, that's right.
We've just missed that boat ourselves.
That's right. And so I think it's important to have a DJ who's highly intuitive and can read a crowd. And I think that comes with experience, and people are really connected emotionally as well to themselves and the people around them. So I think that's really crucial. It's not really about the transition or the mix. It's about playing the right song at the right time. And man, when that happens and you have people cheer and scream when you play it, it is just like magic. And like, I must admit, being a DJ is quite addictive because you have a sense of power over people, because like sometimes I'll have them in the palm of my hand and I am lapping it up and I'm like, this is heaven. Like, and I'm just like I just love those moments, and you can tell everyone else does. And in a previous podcast, I think it was with Pete and Chelsea, you were talking about how they hated the circle.
Yeah.
You know what? I
weirdly love the circle. Is it bad?
Yes.
Is the circle bad? Oh my God.
I love the circle. I am waiting for the circle to organically happen, because you know what I do then is I play It's Like That by Run DMC, and I get people out there. I call their name, get out in the middle. People are cheering. It's going like
bananas.
Yeah.
Everyone's pretending they know how to break dance.
Yeah. And I am like, yes. Like, you know, those moments you need someone who knows how to work a crowd, you know, and you cannot put money on that either. It's just pure magic. I love it.
Tell us some of the benefits of booking an MC.
The Master of Ceremony. It's a highly underestimated role in weddings. The most underestimated. I think it's a crucial role in the success of every wedding. And I think while it's great that a lot of couples get friends and family who they love to be part of that role, sometimes without the adequate training and preparation, it doesn't turn out that great.
Yeah.
People have the greatest intentions, and it's not that it's a massive flop. It's just that sometimes it's better left to the professional. But yeah, I've enjoyed working along some of the friends and families who are MCs, but it does mean a lot of work for me still, because I need to often encourage them, prepare them, coach them. Often they're very nervous because while they might be outgoing people naturally to their friends and family, there's a lot of pressure on a couple's big day, and they care deeply about their people that are getting married. So they're often very nervous, very underprepared, sometimes get a little too drunk, and it detracts them from their enjoyment from the day as well. From the person who's the friend who's the MC. So, sometimes it can be a lot of extra work for us, and a lot of other suppliers aren't that thrilled when there's a friend or family who's the MC, because as the MC, there's a lot of work behind the scenes. You're there keeping everything on time, making sure that things are on schedule. You are preparing the venue and the other suppliers like the gorgeous photographers and the videographers, and making sure that everyone is ready before that you announce a formality and proceed with that. Videographers need to be ready with proper lighting and the sound connected before anything starts, and that takes time. And often they're racing from having sunset photos, and we know about that as MCs who've been in the industry for a long time. We're aware of everyone's needs, and you've got to remember that couples have paid a lot of money for those services, and they want to get the best out of those services. So we know how to do that as the professional MC. So there's a lot of background work. I'll also go to those who are having their speeches, and I'll say, you're coming up, are you ready? And they'll be obviously nervous, and I'll talk about how great they are. Just trust them. Everyone knows you and they love you. There's nothing to be worried about, and I'm coaching them and preparing them. There's a lot of work that goes in behind the scenes, and when they've got a friend and family who's doing that, I'm coaching them as well, and making sure that they're not announcing something before, there's something really important that couples don't want to be missed. So that's just behind the scenes. As an MC, I like to keep it fairly simple, because at the end of the day, it's not about me. I'm not the entertainment. It's about the couple. So I like to keep things pretty succinct. People want to be there to enjoy the food and the drink and the wine and people's company and the dancing and the music. So they don't want me waffling on about housekeeping or cracking lame dad jokes or anything like that. Yeah. I keep things pretty succinct. People have got very low attention span. All the entertainment and the stories and the love was in the ceremony. So the reception's about keeping things on point, clear, concise, simple, and really making the most of every moment and just getting people engaged and cheering and having fun and when there's a friend or family who's a bit nervous, sometimes they're focused on maintaining their own nerves rather than trying to prime up a crowd or anything like that. So, I think there's so much involved in the MC, and it's highly underrated and underestimated, the importance of it. And I love doing it. I love doing games. It's not everyone's cup of tea, and that's fine. We work with couples, what they want to do. But my favourite game is getting everyone involved. So everyone who's married, I'll get them to stand, and then I'll start counting up as I go. And if you've been married for less than that, you sit down. And so you get to the longest married couple in the room. Usually it's the grandparents, and then I'll go up to them and ask them for some marriage advice and, anything they'd like to give the couple, any advice or any words of love that they'd love to share with them. And usually they're caught off guard and they say really sweet stuff and it's hilarious, and it's a great way to involve your grandparents. Like, I love doing things like that, and that's the ways that you can involve your guests and your loved ones rather than having them actually do a formal role at a wedding. So that's the way we like to involve people. It's always so much fun, that game. I like to call that like marriage countdown. So Jay actually helped me come up with that one. So although it's probably been done 100 times before, so nothing's in a postmodern world, nothing's an original idea, is it?
It's so true, isn't it? It's not just engaging that seamless professional MC service of someone who's got amazing experience, knows how to engage the guests, keeps it short, sharp and shiny, but keeps the vibe wild. It is giving your family and friends that chance to relax, also helping them because there are some big social pressures about talking in front of a group, not just grabbing the mic and standing there and feeling nervous, but like we've talked about before, Tania, when we've done events together, there's also that really important focus around inclusive language. When you've got a professional MC, a Choons Moovz professional MC especially, you're going to have that beautiful acknowledgement of country at the start of your reception. You're going to have inclusive, warm, kind language for your guests who are gender and sexuality diverse. You can talk to the couple and delve into their family's cultural history, their background, their upbringing, and figure out what may and may not be appropriate to throw in there, because we've all come from somewhere different. We've all had different experiences. What might be right, for a friend to say might not be right for the family, or vice versa. So you can really balance that. And I know we've spoken about that before because we kind of bounce off each other at our events with that together.
That's right.
So I guess that's another kind of perk of the professional MC, not worrying about those things, but making sure all your guests feel really included in that way too.
Yes, you completely nailed it. And your professional MC is going to be ready to do that. And that's not another thing that a couple needs to worry about. Everything's going to be on point and they don't have to be concerned. They can relax and sit back and enjoy their special day.
That's the whole thing about engaging suppliers, that you can trust and you can lean on their professionalism. Another thing they don't have to worry about. You don't want to worry on your wedding. You've done the hard yards, you've done the planning. Just kick back, relax and enjoy, absolutely.
And then the guests who aren't the MCs can do that too.
Yeah, so true. Tania.
Yes?
Heard a little cute whisper that you yourself got married in 2019. That whisper was obviously from you because we are friends. Very exciting times. So I'd like to know, how does such a unique, engaging and frankly wild and wonderful DJ as yourself choose your own wedding DJ? That must have been such a task. How did you feel about handing over the reins?
Well, I was very excited to enlist the services of a young female DJ named Tash Liddy, and she is very young and little pocket rocket and full of fun. I chose her because for many years I lived in regional areas in like Port Lincoln and Port Augusta and worked on commercial radio as an announcer. So and I used to DJ on the weekend, every weekend, but I would play and drive many hours to go to different regional towns to play in different pubs. And one I went regularly to was in Clare, and the owners of the pub had two young girls, and they were 3 and 5 when I started going there, and the eldest, who was 5, Tash, is now 22. And she has seen me DJ most weekends, well, not most weekends, but a lot. And she's seen my style and I inspired her. Well, I like to think I inspired her to DJ, and she DJs very much like me, very intuitive, very engaging, loves to sing and dance, get out there amongst the crowd, and people love it. They connect with her as well. And I just fully, completely trusted her, and she's such a darling soul. And that's the type of DJs that I want to cultivate. I am, you know, like I don't want to say this to brag, but I won Best DJ in SA last year, and I was the first female to win the award.
Oh yeah, girl.
I know, and that's so exciting. And I was just like, wow, like it's like for a female-dominated industry like weddings, you know, the DJs are still predominantly male.
Absolutely, you're so right.
And I really want to cultivate this team of fun, engaging, powerful she-jays who are dismantling the patriarchy, you know, dominating the DJ world. And, you know, like there's lots of female DJs starting to come out now, and I just love seeing that. And I'm just really seeking – I'm actually going to start like a recruitment process, and I'm actually – trying to look for females to train to DJ just like me.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Dana the DJ.
Yes.
Possibly.
You were going to say, sign me up.
Sign me up.
And
Dana the
DJ.
DJ. Me and Dana.
Oh my God, I'd love to have you both on board.
I
Let's
don't
do
have
it.
enough energy.
Dana the DJ can specialise in weddings where there's lots of relaxation, meditation, even a mid-wedding nap. I'm down for that. I would love that. You do make me feel peaceful, Dana. I feel you'd be a peaceful, beautiful DJ.
Yes. You have a
have,
calming effect.
Have the dance floor be like 40 degrees so people don't want to dance.
That's
Like
your
hot
excuse.
yoga, but like hot wedding dance floor. It could be excellent to limber us up for later.
Lose 10 times as many calories.
Because you sweat yourself to death. Let's keep the dance floor at a very calm, what did we say we like? 21 degrees. That's optimum sleeping temperature. So maybe it's optimum dancing temperature.
But yeah, seriously, I and also like non-binary. Any of the minorities, I'm happy to have on board, and because I think females offer something a little bit different as DJs, and we have, like, everyone has different skills that they bring as in the role, and it doesn't make them any better or worse. It just brings it means that they have that different element, and femininity can be a very powerful force when it comes to driving a dance floor, especially that playfulness and at least the traditional feminine traits of, you know, playfulness and intuitiveness and nurturing and care, things like that.
Absolutely. Got to get lots of little DJs all along that beautiful gender spectrum in there, giving their unique touch on how to make a wedding wild.
Yes,
Well,
yes.
Call me and Dana. We'll see what we can do for you.
And transform.
Yeah, that's right.
No such thing as a bad dance floor anymore.
No, that's right. That's right. And, you know, we've got males on our team as well, and they're amazing. And so, you know, I'm all for anyone, everyone. Let's do it. Let's have fun. But, yeah, back to the wedding. So we had Tash, and she was amazing. And when it came to selecting music, I just chose,
The Grease
my
Mega
husband
Mix.
and I.
No, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
On repeat.
Actually, now that Olivia has passed, that song, the Mega Mix, has made a huge resurgence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt like it never left, and now it's going to be more prominent.
That's right.
Almost
Yeah.
as sad about the resurgence of the Greek Mega Mix as I am about Olivia's passing.
Yeah.
Oh, I love the Mega Mix.
There's
Sorry.
a generation that's
As
battle
I've
for
said
it.
that, I'm so sorry. Everyone.
She's like watching over us. Oh my gosh. We're just like all about offending people that have died on this podcast. Like,
Rest in peace, Olivia Newton.
what's the other one? Not chunky custard, meatloaf.
Someone was offensive to meatloaf. That was when I was on the podcast, was it?
was
No,
killing it.
maybe I
She
listened to it. I love meatloaf. You took the words right out of my mouth. Anyway, love you, meatloaf.
If you're listening. He's not listening.
If you and ONJ are listening up there, meatloaf, ONJ, we love you.
Yes, we do. It's been our hearts forever. And then our dance moves on the dance floor. Anyway, where were we? When it came to selecting our music, that's right. Jay and I chose music based on special moments that we'd have together. So when we first got together, I used to sing to him, I love you always, forever.
I love that song.
Closer together.
That's cute.
And, that was a 90s hit, a one-hit wonder. And Betty Who made it a bit of a resurgence for it. So, but we had the original. Original was best. And, I had that for I think it was the cutting of the cake. So we picked songs that were really special to us and, like I spoke about earlier, memories and moments and, moments where we'd shared at concerts and things like that. And, we found it quite easy because we just focused on the memories and moments and what was in our heart and what was special to us. And it was pretty easy.
That's nice, we really struggled with like picking our music for our wedding, but then we hadn't been together for all that long either. I think we got married and we've been together maybe like 18 months at our wedding. So, but like I think about now and if and when we have a like renewal, all the songs that we would pick from over the years of like just having jokes about music and stuff, it's just, it makes it all like a lot of fun.
It does.
And special.
Yes, that's right. And our entrance song was Ooh, baby, feels right. The music sounds better with you.
Love mine, bring us back together.
Yeah.
So good. Oh, I love that song.
Yeah, I know. Well, because to us, music did sound better when we was with each other. So
It does.
Yeah,
That's so true.
Yeah.
Didn't that have an interesting like video clip to it?
Yeah, I think some
that one that
metal
was
men in the sky.
Standing on the plane wings?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I got married when I was 22. So the music I remember from my wedding was like, 369, damn divine, give it to me, suck it to me one more time. A lot of Get Low, a lot of Lil Jon, a lot of apple bottom jeans. Yeah, it wasn't pretty. So it sounds really beautiful, Tanya. Sounds really beautiful what you and Jay have done, and I'll just hold that close to my heart when I think about wedding music.
So special. I don't think it matters though. Like if that's what your jam is, if that represents you as a couple, I think people should choose it. I don't care if like they're like, ooh, what is Nana going to think? Like if that's you, do it. Like
we definitely did it.
I love that. I love
there
that.
There was no shame.
I think the best weddings are when people are authentically themselves and they're unapologetic about it. Just do it.
Yeah.
Like do you.
Yeah.
Like, that's what's best. They're the best weddings. There was one wedding I did and the bride's name was Sharia and every time they kissed, I had to play dum 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 dum. So I had it on a cue and everyone went Ben and Sharia. And it was so good.
Yeah.
Like, although one time I had to run off to the toilet and I was like starting to kiss and I was like bolting back like, I'm going to play this cue.
Yeah.
So I couldn't really go to the toilet, which was awkward. So, but that stuff makes magic at weddings.
Yeah.
I love it.
Was there anything that you would do differently from your day?
The only thing I would do differently is it was suggested to me and Jay, my beautiful husband, that we take a moment together after we'd been married, just by ourselves, looked into each other's eyes and, soaked up and acknowledged what we'd just done. And I was too busy. We only had about an hour and a half because it was a long story, but we only had about an hour and a half to have photos in between the ceremony and reception. And I was so focused on rushing around and getting those photos that I just didn't pause and have that moment with my husband. I really regret missing that moment because it's such a whirlwind on your wedding day. Yeah. It's such a buzz and it flies so quickly that if you don't actively choose to take those moments to pause and really acknowledge the sacredness and the deep and abiding love that you just committed to each other, like I'll never get that moment back. Like I just really wish I'd done that. Obviously I have those moments every day with my beautiful husband now because I love him so much and he's just an incredible man. But, I'll just never get those moments back. Yeah, so if I was to suggest that to anyone, please beg you, take that moment with your husband, wife, whatever, your partner, and really acknowledge this significant moment in your life that you'll never have again.
Tans, how did you get into what I would almost describe as the perfect profession for you, being a DJ? How did it come about?
Well, that's a very good question. I was at uni doing a Bachelor of Arts in Communications, and I wanted to be the next Jackie O. I was obsessed with Carl and Jackie O, and I wanted to be famous. So sad. But I really am a washed-up wannabe pop star, really. And so I set off to Port Lincoln as my first gig in commercial radio on air, and I loved it. I was in heaven. And there was another announcer there who was a DJ as well. Oh. And I think he couldn't do a gig one night, and he said, "Can you do it?" And I was like, "Sure, I've got no idea." But I just love music, and I was obsessed with playing records. And I was that kid that was like recording off the radio and trying to
pausing in the ad breaks.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, for the top
40
or whatever it was.
Yeah, the ARIA charts.
I was also that child.
Oh God, I loved it. You know, I always had headphones on, so I was already pretty much a radio DJ like before I came out of the womb. But I don't know, like, and from that very moment, like doing that first gig, I was like, this is incredible. I love it so much. And I was not very good at mixing for a long time. But I had like Pioneer 100s, and anyone who's a DJ would know that they are like this, the lowest of low technology, basic technology. And like they didn't have any like BPM like readers or anything, so I couldn't tell what the beats per minute were or anything like that. So you really had to beat match. And I actually did learn in the end how to do it by ear, which is a very good skill. These days with technology, you don't necessarily need to do that. And and I just started doing friends' parties and weddings and like going to the local pubs and DJing every weekend and having the time of my life. And like it just grew from there. I did have a bit of a break for a year just before I started the business. I did maybe 1 or 2 gigs, but I finished up gigs because I don't know, like I just felt like I was getting a bit old for it. I hope that doesn't put anyone off, but there's just, you go through different phases of your life. But then what happened is I went on to do honours in sociology, and I did a friend's wedding, and I had this moment where I saw this father and his daughter dancing on the dance floor at this wedding that I was doing, and I saw the joy in their eyes and the way they were smiling at each other. It wasn't even the father and the bride, like it was just a random father and daughter. And something changed in my heart, and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to do this. Like, I'm going to do this as my job. And it was a good way to support me while I was studying. And I thought, wow, I can just work on the weekends and then study during the week. And so I did finish off my honours a couple of years ago, and I was going to go on and do a PhD, but then the business just boomed, and I was like, I can study when I'm 60. I can't DJ when I'm 60, especially the way I DJ. But so I just decided that I'll focus on the business and DJing at weddings. And I think also because I fell so deeply in love with my husband and we're so, heavily committed to each other, I really understood the preciousness and sacredness of marriage. And I love love and the celebration of love, and combining all those things together and my many years of experiences as a DJ previously and making all those mistakes previously when I was young and just having fun. I'm taking it seriously now, and it's just got big and way bigger than I ever expected. And it's just making my heart so full, and I've never been so passionate and so deeply committed to something in my life. And what I love most is that my husband's right by my side. He helps me every step of the way. I'm the dreamer. He's the practical one. I'll be like, let's do this. And he's like, yeah, well, we haven't got 2 of you, Tanya, so we can't do that. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. He'll be like, well, let's really realistically look at this. And we're yin and yang, we balance each other out. And like I mentioned earlier, if it wasn't for him doing the logistics and the driving, I would not be prepared as I am for each wedding. I wouldn't be able to give as much energy and love and passion and commitment to it as I do. And So that's how it kind of started, and now that's where we are today. And I'm forever grateful for the journey and everyone who's been along the way to support us. We have so many people who help us out along the way, and they advocate for us, they refer, they recommend. I have so many people like yourselves who have helped me with advice, and I would be totally lost without the community that I've stumbled across in the wedding industry. Like, oh my God, there are so many talented, amazing, supportive, loving, the list goes on, people who work in the wedding industry. South Australian couples are so lucky.
Yeah, they are.
Oh my
Absolutely.
God.
Yeah.
Like,
Such a good bunch
Yeah,
in the
like-
industry.
like we're so lucky. And so I really have found my groove, and I just have never felt more blessed and lucky in my life. I'm forever grateful.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. Can you tell us what the best part of your job is?
Oh, that's so hard to
Yeah, I know it
say. Because I love it all. I think it's when you have that moment where everyone cheers on the dance floor and like you just see them light up. And I think what I love most about the dance floor and weddings is you can see, even for a moment, people are free. They're not worried about blah, blah, blah. They don't have to worry about cleaning the house, or, they might have had a few drinks, but, they're actually free. They've recaptured that essence who were free as a child, and just in the moment, and experiencing that and being the center of that is pure gold. And I think they're some of my favorite moments. When it comes to weddings, I think I get most emotional and cut up, and I probably cry every time, is when I see the bride and her father or support person come down the aisle, or however they want to enter the wedding, because I think that was a very crucial moment for me, that moment with my father. And I think I also love watching how invested the family are in the couples, and how excited they are about their special day, and how I congratulate the parents all the time, because it's just as important for them as it is for the couple, because I just know what it was like for our parents as well. And I think I just love how invested they are. And, oh, God, there's so many precious moments of weddings. Like, we honestly have the best jobs in the world to be around so much love and to celebrate that. I think that's it. But I'll probably go home now and be like, oh, no, it's this, because it's endless. Yeah.
It's so obvious how much you love what you do, and the passion you exude for your role is phenomenal. And I just think not only is it wonderful to witness as your colleague or your friend, but I think couples would be very lucky to have that genuine passion and engagement on their special day, because you do love and you are genuinely happy for people.
Yeah.
And you're probably the only person I've ever met who thought, I want to be famous, so I'm going to move to Port Lincoln. So there's just so much love about you, Tania.
Well, at the time you had to work from the bottom, but then reality TV came in, and that's all you had to do was go on a reality TV show, and then you were famous. But lucky I did not go on one of those shows. The world would not be
Quite what it is.
No, that's right. But I think, I get very excited when a couple chooses me. I'm sure you feel the same. This is one shot I've got, and it's their special day. They're hopefully not going to have another one, and you've only got one shot at it. And I get really invested in who they are. We get a lot of feedback that people often think that I'm their friends. They'll say to me, people who have guests, they'll go, oh, so how do you know, blah, blah, blah. And I'll be like, oh, I met them 2 weeks ago.
Technically, they're my boss today. That's how I know them.
And I think because I genuinely do care, they are my friends, and I do get to know them, and it's important. I don't know. And it's not that I feel like I need to, I just want to. And I think that's really important, because they're investing a lot of money and time and heart into us. So I want to do the same. I think it's the right thing to do.
Tania, thank you so much for joining us on The Wedding Edit today. It has been an absolute pleasure, not only looking at your ritzy glitzy outfit, but hearing your passion, hearing everything. I know everyone out there is probably busting their chops to know where they can find Tania and Choons and Moovz. So I'm going to start by spelling Choons and Moovz in the web address. So you can find Tania on the Choons and Moovz website, Facebook and Instagram. www.choonsandmoovz.com.au, which is CHOONSANDMOOVZ. So we've got that interesting spelling, beautiful spelling coming across our Facebook as well. www.facebook.com/choons with an S and moves with a Z. And the Instagram handle is @Choons and Moovz with the spelling I mentioned earlier. Thank you so much, Tania.
You totally nailed it, Lauren. Woohoo!
Yeah, good job.
Yay. And of course, after that confusing spelling, all those links are available in the show notes as well.
If you're loving listening to The Wedding Edit, we would love for you to give us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
Thanks for listening to The Wedding Edit, a wedding planning podcast for the modern couple. We'll be back in 2 weeks with our next episode. If you've got a friend or someone you love getting married, we would love you to share The Wedding Edit podcast with them so they can get all the great tips and tricks and have an added resource to make their wedding planning even easier.
Give me a C.
See?
Give me a H. H. Give me an O. O.
Perfect.
I love the wedding edit. I love the wedding edit. I love the wedding edit.